100%
Music.
100%
Music.
100% music. 100% music.
And we're back. 100% music live from Carl's Patio / the Dak Shack is what we've christened this.
Al's Dak Shack,
it's
baby.
the Dak Shack.
Al's Dak Shack. We
How's
had a
it
couple
look?
other names for it the other night, but we can't say those on camera.
And we got special guest for us, and even more special guest comedian, Nikki Bon. You know her, you love her. You've seen her do sets at the Hollywood Improv with the biggest in the game. We've seen you crush sets with Nikki Glazer, Anthony Jeselnik, Hembree.
Hembree? I've crushed sets with Hembree.
Nikki, you are a comic, a podcast host,
Yes.
an actor, a true Renaissance woman.
Yes.
You live in Los Angeles, but I would say you are Toronto's number one comedy.
Wow.
Number one comedy.
Number one comedy.
Number one comedy.
We don't get a chance to
Is it a
introduce a lot
TV
of folks
show?
on the podcast.
No, yeah. I'm number one.
Yeah,
is
we're
all
nervous
there
to
is.
have a guest of such esteem, as your co-host of your podcast, Whoa Dad, has said, you're getting more visible.
Get more visible. So thank you for paying me to be here.
Yes, that's
we pay
right.
in
Really appreciate it.
our sponsors, tacos. Thanks to Homestay Tacos.
Homestay Tacos.
Do you prefer to be called a comedian or a comic? What's the...
I don't-
or comedy?
I
More
just like
comedy.
comedy. Yeah, I
Comedy.
like to be Nikki Bon comedy.
That's all encompassing.
I don't have a preference, a comic or comedian. Nah, I don't really care.
Okay.
I never think about it.
We
Yeah.
like to be called music.
You just got back from Santa Fe. Where were you performing? Tell the folks.
I headlined Cloud Top Comedy Festival.
As a comic, what has been a...
Comedian.
I'm sorry. As a comedian, what has been a favorite venue of yours? You've traveled. We've seen you in Chicago. We've seen you in New York.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you've performed in Toronto. You've been all over the place. What is a favorite venue?
My favorite right now is the Corner Comedy in Toronto.
Cool.
It's like underground. It's small. The crowds are always just so into comedy. You can say whatever you want. They're just open to it.
Finally.
Finally, I can say whatever I want.
And that's in Toronto.
Unlike on this podcast.
Did it take a while, though, to overcome letting the crowd get in your head when you started doing comedy?
Yeah, it still happens.
Yeah, can
Like,
you just get like someone in your head and then that's just the only thing you're thinking about and it's almost like out of body, like you're doing your set because you know it so well, but then you're just like, this guy in the front row is like,
giving me a dirty look, or like this
Exactly.
woman is staring at me and she's judging me, and she goes, no, and then I'm like, oh my god, now I can't say anything, and so yeah, that definitely gets in my head. I'll still say my jokes and I'll still do my act.
If you get in your head early on
yeah.
and you're focused
Yeah,
on
can you
one
climb out?
bad audience member, or
Yes.
even more than that in the audience, can you turn the ship around at a certain point and be like, all right, I'm going to win back this audience? Or does it early on, if that happens, do you get so far into your head that it's like, oh, I blew the set already?
No, you can't do that, because like then you're screwed the whole entire set.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would do that. I used to do that, but now it's like, okay, if that didn't land or this person is looking at me rudely, this is going to rattle me, but I need to like now look at someone else. And it just won't make me have as much fun. But yeah, you can't give up. It's not fair to the audience to just give up.
No,
you know?
definitely. As musicians, though, we do find a bit of an overlap with comedy. Somehow, I don't know if it's the performance element of it, but I can speak on behalf of all of us. I think there's been times where like, I think I want to be a comic.
Oh,
I could write a tight five,
well,
surely.
because you say one funny thing on stage and it crushes and you're like,
It's a low
I
bar,
could
though.
do this.
Audiences at a music show are not necessarily expecting comedy. So if we're able to say one funny thing on stage, it's going to go over
Also,
well.
if it doesn't crush, you can be like, that didn't crush.
Well, the
next
difference
song.
is that they already like you.
Exactly.
So,
That's
so
what I was
famous
trying to get at.
people
Exactly.
famous people that get into comedy that weren't comedians before. Jeremy Piven, for example. You know.
Yeah.
He got me too, so that's not a good example. But
No, that's okay. We can talk about him then, right?
yeah,
We can
yeah.
say whatever we want.
So like he got into comedy. And then everybody likes him anyways, and I just watch, and it's like he can say whatever he wants, and people will be on
laugh.
board.
Have you watched Hacks?
No,
you
I
seen
have
it yet?
not
Okay, well, this
watched
doesn't
it.
really give anything away about the show, but at one point she's doing really well in her career, and they kind of illustrate that point. She starts to do shows and she'll just walk out and say one word and the crowd starts cracking up just because she's reached this like level of fame. So it is interesting. We've seen friends who have become, reached that next tier, whether with music or comedy. And it is wild. It's like they possess this power almost. Which is,
Do you see overlap between musicians and comics, whether it be like
how many reels we all have to make?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yes,
Every musician now in band is having to do the same thing that a lot of comics do as far as like social media platforms, it seems like.
It does. And it feels like we all want to be comedians or comics or comedy. And
we want to be comedy.
yeah, we want to be comedy. Do you want to be music?
I want to be music. I
wanna be
wanted to
music?
be music since I was a kid. Like, I wanted to be a singer. That was the first thing I ever wanted to be. When I was like 4 years old, I was like, I'm going to be a singer. And I would like go around the house and I had like my dress and my sparkly shirt.
And your dad is a musician.
My dad's a
who you
musician,
have a pod
but
with.
he wasn't really like present in that time. So I was like, look, Dad, would you come back? I can sing. Look at me.
You mentioned your dad. You have a very successful podcast called
Whoa, Dad. The first season, I was teaching my dad how to be a father, and we spent a week together, which was like the most amount of time ever, and hash out our issues, but also like a lot made him do like funny things, like teach me about the birds and the bees and like all things he should have taught me if he was around. Then he left again and didn't come back. And so I then turned to comics to come on and tell me about their parent issues, which was like very interesting. Obviously not very comedy.
Not very comedy.
Some were comedy, some were great stories.
More psychological.
Psychological, which was honestly, I felt very helpful.
It's dark comedy.
It was dark comedy. It was dark
It's a
comedy.
black comedy.
Raw comedy.
Eddie Murphy style.
Yeah.
Bobby's back.
Bobby's back. Your dad is back.
Bobby's back and stoked because he wanted to do a podcast where we talk about UFOs and discover if UFOs are real or not, because he has gone down a YouTube spiral.
All right, this is the most
and
dad
he's-
podcast thing.
What was
ever now.
it? It was literally called like UFOs and.
And what was it?
It's so good.
UFOs and Hollywood.
UFOs in
That's-
Hollywood, yes. So stay
just-
tuned for UFOs
So
in
now-
Hollywood.
That's
Yeah.
Scientology, right?
Yeah.
Were you born in Toronto? Is that where you
Yeah.
grew up?
Talk a
What
little
Canadian
Canadian
music
music.
then did you grow up in your household?
Okay. Brian Adams.
Oh, I didn't even think of Brian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's like a
fantastic.
knife?
Cuts like a knife.
Summer
And
of
it cuts like a
69.
knife.
We were on a family trip to Mexico. It was an all-inclusive resort where they have different events every night, and they had a karaoke night, and it was well attended. And Austin got up there in middle school and performed "Summer of '69" and ended up winning a bottle of tequila that you couldn't drink.
No, I won a 4 free night stay.
Whoa.
But then I cashed it in for a free massage.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Do you have a video of this?
That's a
Of
great
the
question.
massage? No. I will say, quick sidebar, it was my very first massage. I think I wasn't like a freshman in high school. I had a female masseuse, and she kind of would whisper into my ear.
No. What'd
And
she
like, so
say?
she would literally say like, turn over, or like, can I rub your feet, basically. But the way she would whisper it, I genuinely thought
she was
she was
gonna make a
about
move.
to try to have sex with me. And so when she was like, turn over, please. And I would be like, oh. And like it moved.
I think it moved.
Yeah, and it was a full on. I almost had a panic attack because I thought
Is
like,
like, is
she
this when
was
I'm supposed to
gonna-
do this
Yeah,
now?
I was like,
You
do
couldn't
I
relax
make a move?
because you thought
Where
that
were
she
you,
was going to
Mexico?
finger
It was, and that's the other thing, was in Mexico. So I was like, I don't know the
Oh,
rules.
my
She's speaking
God.
Spanish to you
it was like-
on that
Damn.
massage table.
Yeah, it had a
That's
nice
so
thick
funny.
accent. Anyways,
So
You
Brian
still think
Adams,
about it a
Brian
lot.
Adams, obviously
Yeah, Brian
Alanis
Adams, Brian
Morissette.
Adams.
Alanis Morissette.
The number one.
Well, I'm listening to a Pearl Jam podcast right now, and in 1996, Vitology was up for Best Rock Record, and she won at the Grammys.
Oh.
Which is,
Wait, they had best rock record on national television?
yeah.
yeah.
That's insane.
Damn.
Isn't that wild that they used to celebrate rock?
They have Grammys up there, don't they? The Junos?
The Junos.
Yeah.
I met her at the Junos. When
You
I was
met
a kid.
Alanis Morissette?
Yeah, and I was a huge
Wow.
fan.
Was she still dating Dave Coulier of Full House fame at
I
that
think
time?
she was at the time. It was when that album,
Yeah,
The
or maybe
Jagged
she
Little
had just
Pill, came
broken
out.
Jagged Little
up. They had just
Pill.
broken up because You Ought to Know is
About him.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe so she wasn't. Yeah, maybe she wasn't.
Would she go down
on you and
That's my karaoke song.
I have done Chumbawamba many times,
Oh.
always with a counterpart. So
that was a Beatles song?
yeah, it was one of their later ones. Let It Be, Tub Thumping.
Let it tub thump.
Let it tub
be
thump.
parentheses tub thumping.
But we sang Tub Thumping, and I went to the restroom, and as I'm going to the bathroom, this guy goes, bro, never stop singing.
No, that's so
he goes,
nice.
that was spectacular. Also, the male's role in that song is just talking.
Yeah.
And a man told you that while you were in the bathroom pissing the night away.
Pissing the night away, baby.
Love it.
I want to tell you, Nikki, I can speak on behalf of Austin myself. We have a huge fascination, maybe obsession with Canadian music of the mid 90s up through the early 2000s. We're from a very small town in the middle of America, Fort Scott, Kansas. For some reason, our town was a little cheap, might be the word.
Yeah, I think it was cheaper to get the money for much music over MTV.
So we
Crazy.
grew up in a small town in the middle of Kansas without MTV, but we had much music, Canadian music television. So all of our frame of references growing up were Canadian alternative rock bands, which very much informed, I think, our musical tastes and style.
And what's wild, at a very young age when we would watch much music every single day, I don't think either one of us realized that it was a Canadian-based show. So all these bands that we were falling in love with who were Canadian. We had no idea. So we would tell other friends, and they would be like,
About the bands.
About the bands.
Yeah, but a lot of our friends in our hometown liked them as well because, again, they were also getting much music. But anyone outside of our small town would be like, who is
Moist and Our
who's
Lady?
Our Lady Peace? Who is Tragically Hip? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Who
But
is
then
the
it's
Tea
weird.
Party?
There are
Sum
these
41
Canadian
meter,
artists
like,
that have crossed into like being gigantic everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously, that
Yeah.
happens from all over the world. But like Sum 41.
Yeah, Sum
Yeah.
41 I was obsessed.
I loved Sum 41 too.
I saw him Warped Tour 2000.
Fat Lip had just come out. We saw him, I believe, yeah.
I think I saw them Warped Tour 2002.
It's also funny
Yeah.
that when Sum 41 came out, I was in 5th grade and I was like, this was made for me.
It's so good. Yeah,
Sum 41 is just like, this is
Really
everything.
for me.
This music
Made
is made
for
for
a
me
fifth grader.
in 5th grade.
Sum
Yeah.
41, that's an interesting part of what I would, in my head, is like the triangle of Canadian
Sadness?
incestuous of sadness, the triangle of sadness. Derek Whibley from Sum
Yeah.
41 married Avril Lavigne,
Yes.
who married
Chad
Kroger of
So,
Nickelback.
Indeed, the Triangle of Sadness.
Triangle of sadness.
Oh, yes, that is. But Derek was so hot at the time.
Oh,
Have you
well.
seen?
I know. He's not.
Maybe we have to settle for the guys in Simple Plan.
I wanted to briefly
Aren't they Canadian
bring
too?
up
I think so.
think they
Simple
are.
Plan. Let's see if that pops
Yeah.
up here. According to Billboard and Nielsen, these are the biggest Canadian artists according to record sales.
Okay.
Physical, I believe. Oh, physical and digital. Number one, who do you think is going to
Rush.
be?
Oh, no. I mean, Nickelback. No.
Well, I would have guessed Rush too, and I can see the list, so I'm cheating, and I won't give it away
Neil
yet.
Young.
Oh, and that's a wild one because I didn't even know he was Canadian. It's Celine Dion.
Oh, that makes sense. Also, I'm
yeah,
wearing
yeah,
my
yeah,
Canadian
yeah,
outfit.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Thank you for doing
No
that.
one
Denim
noticed.
suit,
Okay,
Canadian
Celine
suit.
Dion.
Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah, the
And I'm wearing my
tuxedo.
American outfit.
Me
With my
too.
Statue of
Monday
Liberty.
Night Football.
Monday Night Football, the Statue
This
of
is more
Liberty.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number
Okay.
two,
Team
and
Canada over here.
Yeah.
another one I
American.
had assumed was an American artist just due to their popularity in the country genre. Who would it be, do you think?
Shania Twain.
Shania Twain.
Shania.
Michael Bublé. And
Oh.
then,
So that's got to be Christmas
Michael
records.
Bublé crushed when he came out.
yeah.
Yeah, because he had a great personality too. Like my mom would be like, "I met Michael Bublé and he sat on my lap."
Like, is that what's
everywhere
going
he
on
went.
up there? Everyone just runs into everyone.
Yeah,
You met
what the hell?
Alanis, Bublé's just around.
Yeah. She worked in radio, so I
Oh,
had
there you
hookups.
go. Okay,
but
nice.
I will say, if they had a good personality, very Canadian.
Okay.
If they had, like of us to be like, if you have a good personality,
Yes.
you're gonna crush.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
if
haven't
you-
even touched on maybe the two biggest pillars of Canadian music. One
band.
who's really hot right now in pop culture.
Arcade Fire.
Drake.
No.
Okay, so we got Drake and Justin Bieber are both
Yeah.
Canadian.
Yep.
Did you watch Degrassi growing up? Was
No, I did
really
not.
what I wanted to ask you about.
No Canadians watch Degrassi.
No,
That's
it was
so
an American
No.
fascination.
It's weird. It is American. Yeah, you guys love it. We never watched it because also I think we would see it come on. But although you guys grew up small town, but we'd see it come on TV and be like, "This is low quality television."
Yeah. And it was
like it's
nothing,
cheesy?
cheesy.
So I've
and
never seen it,
the
but
way it was shot, I didn't like.
Like,
that.
was it like a-
like that?
I don't know. I never watched it. I don't
Was
know.
it like a Saved by the Bell kind of a thing?
No.
Like that level of
No, it was
goofy
darker.
cheesiness?
It was
Oh,
like
really?
Every
Yeah.
episode, someone was like dying. and
yes,
stuff.
But it was cheesy also?
I think the production
cheap?
value was
yeah,
cheesy.
yeah.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
production was
Soap
cheap.
opera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
High school soap opera.
And that's where Drake came from.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
Degrassi.
He's Degrassi.
I've been
Who
trying
was
to
your
tell people
favorite
this for a while.
Canadian artist?
Okay,
Drake.
so
Drake. Arcade Fire.
Alanis Morissette is like
Yeah.
she was your Sum 41. this was for me. Alanis Morissette, I was like, this is for me.
Yeah.
Because you ought to know, like that whole Jagged Little Pill was just so good. And I'm a very nostalgic person, so I like things that remind me of good times in my life, and that would be that. Besides the Arrows, Bobby Economos band, my dad's band. And he played with Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which is actually a really good Canadian.
I've heard of
they
Blood,
Canadian?
Sweat, and
They're
Tears.
really good.
Yeah.
Like you should check them out. They're funk. Yeah, they're good. White guys.
rips. Bobby can rip
Bobby
on the
ripped
drums.
it. Yeah, but they're not my favorite band. But
Okay.
I do. I'm
So that's
like,
a big plug for your dad's band, The Arrows.
The Arrows.
Look up The Arrows on, you can find it on Napster,
Yeah,
BitTorrent,
I thought you said
In the
Bitcoin.
record store.
Bitcoin. I do want to keep going because this next one, according to the overall sales, is the Tragically Hip.
Yes.
And I feel like this is a band in America that not as many people are familiar with, but growing up on Much Music, we had an appreciation for how big they were in Canada, if not maybe the biggest ambassadors for Canadian music at a certain point. Would you say that's the
Yes,
the
I
case?
would definitely say that. I mean, the band, that's what the band is called. They're called the band. Like, I feel like the band was kind of the first.
Leave on Helm. the band.
Yeah, like huge. But Tragically Hip, and because I feel like the hip is more for music lovers, like not. Listen, like obviously Justin Bieber's great at what he does. I love Sorry, but like that's more pop. That's more image based. You know, I mean, he's amazing, but
We
the
love the
band,
Biebs.
we love the Biebs, but the
question.
band and the hip, like those were for like true Canadian music lovers. I find like even though they're very different, I compare them, and the hip. Their lyrics had a lot of Canadian monuments in it, the lakes of Canada, where we would go camping.
That's
so I
cool.
think that it's like
Saskatchewan.
all the guys, well, maybe more Ontario, but the guys in high school like were obsessed
Really?
with that. Obsessed.
With the Tragically Hip.
In high
Yes.
school, do people like listening to the band too? Or they?
No.
Okay.
No, that's more
Your parents?
in my parents.
Yeah.
But now it'll be people our age
Yeah,
that listen to
definitely.
it. People aren't like going back and listening to the
So-
hip, you know.
with the band and Neil Young, what's the correlation with Southern American rock and then Canada?
I recently watched The Last Waltz,
Yeah,
a
it's great.
fantastic musical performance and documentary about the band. And prior to that, I had thought they were an American band. Like they just have that Americana feel, kind of
Yeah.
jam
Sure.
band thing. And they're very much a Canadian act. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good.
Which is why I like them, because I think some Canadian music is very Canadian, but they branched out. They made it.
They made
in
it.
America. I feel like, because we still have like cottage country, and there is
Is that a band? No. That's a genre of music?
No, but like when
Cottage
you're saying
country?
the southern ways, it's like we still have like, I don't know, there are very southern things about Canada, or I call it more up north
Yeah.
vibes. And
Yeah.
people that live up north, it's like they like country, or they like the southern. Yeah.
What do you see as, especially since you've now spent as much time in America probably as you have growing up in Canada, did you see a difference between what is Canadian music and American music as far as like rock and roll?
In my 20s, I was like, Toronto has such a style that I can pick out that it's Canadian music. And
You
it
could
bothered
tell.
me. Yeah. And I was like, it bothers me because everybody is doing the same thing, but like with a tinge of something different.
What are the characteristics of it, or what were they? Could you?
I guess it was more like alt. I don't even know. But like, what kind of music was Sandman?
Pop rock, but a little bit of like there's some
Kind of
intricacy to it.
Yeah, but a bit of a stoner rock feel.
little bit of a
as well.
stoner.
That's
Everything's
it.
kind of laid back a
pretty-
little bit.
Yes,
chill rock,
Yes,
yeah.
that is what it is. And to be honest, when you guys were on tour with him, I just assumed your music sounded like that too. But then I heard you and I was like, oh my God, this is great. And like, respect to Sandman, you're fine. But no, you're good, but you're dead. So it doesn't matter. But
You're dead.
We got to
so
clarify.
It doesn't
Nikki's
matter.
comic/life partner Matt played in a phenomenal band called Sandman Viper Command. Look him up. Another plug for a band that no longer exists.
We're bringing all these bands back because that happens all the time. Things go viral, and then Matt's band's gonna be famous.
Yeah, and through Matt, we met Nikki and have all become great friends. But Matt's band was a phenomenal band and was very much in my head Canadian. Like it was
Yeah.
Canadian music.
I remember meeting all the guys in Sandman Viper Command, and the the extended friend group that was all from Toronto, and someone said something about Sloan, and they were all like, "Oh, I mean, Sloan's the best.
Yeah,
that's
there
the
you
best
go.
band."
There you
And-
go.
But they also, a lot of them knew some of the guys in the band, and me and Alex are both like, "Oh man, you guys are all diehard Sloan fans."
Yes.
That really
They're like so much
explains
so.
a lot.
Yeah.
about the personalities of the people and the music and everything. But
Yeah.
Sloan feels very much like the American equivalent to like Spoon or Wilco.
Yeah.
Also just a
Yes.
consistent, hardworking band that's been around forever and just keep
And everybody
going.
likes 'em.
And everyone
and
likes
everyone
'em.
likes
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just always found it was the same tempo. That's
Well,
where
every
I
song kind of
charm.
sounds the same. But,
Yeah, yeah.
but if you like that
If
song,
you like that
Yeah.
one song, they have
Yeah.
thousands.
But I mean, like in Toronto, I felt like everything kind of had the same feel, the same tempo, this like grunge but not grunge. What you said, like stoner kind of vibe. And so I was like, this is too Canadian for me, you know?
Would you say of all the Canadian bands in Canada, is Rush seen as the most
I
iconic?
hate Rush.
You
I
hate Rush.
fucking-
Okay.
Very divided opinion
Yeah.
on Rush for
I cannot stand
Is it Geddy's
Rush.
voice?
It's his voice.
Yeah.
And like
Tom
the
Sawyer?
and like the like, and then it's like we're getting on a fucking ship, or is the alien getting us? Make up your mind. Like the
Yeah.
sound is all over. Very divided.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you either hate them or you don't hate them.
But
yeah.
that's funny because I think they're largely regarded as a very nice band. Like people
Yes.
acknowledge that they're
Yes.
great Canadians.
Yes,
But
yes.
I'm not a Rush fan myself either, and I can't, it's because of the voice.
Yeah.
I know.
Sorry,
I
Geddy.
apologize to the
We would love
fans
to
out
hang.
there.
I like Rush as a drummer just because
Yeah, like
Neil's
musically some of the best musicians
it's
in the world,
unbelievable.
but-
But I understand when the music is just shredding and then all of a sudden it's like this mythical space tale.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
It's a lot.
I don't know how I get
It's
into
a
this.
lot.
They are one of Canada's top exports, right?
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
people-
Along with Nickelback.
Nickelback for sure. Nickelback's had a weird kind of come up again. I feel like there was the bashing of Nickelback, and now I think people are mostly okay with them. What do you think of Nickelback?
I don't think people are okay with them. What? That sounds like a Nickelback fan trying to make it cool to be okay with Nickelback. Sounds like you're an undercover Nickelback
Well,
fan.
I
You're
did
trying
see
to get
this
us
video.
involved.
We'll post it in the comments. I did see this video of them playing "Sharp Dressed Man" by ZZ Top.
Did they
and
crush?
Absolutely crushing.
That's cool.
Just
That's a
completely ripping it.
Great song though, you know.
Yeah,
They-
yeah.
they didn't
Yeah,
write
you
that.
can't
No.
be. Yeah.
But with lyrics like "I like the way you wear your pants below your knees," genius stuff.
Oh, what song is that?
I can't
what is
remember.
that?
Yeah, Rockstar or something.
Okay, yeah.
Rockstar has the
all right.
funniest lyrics.
Yeah.
I feel like Imagine Dragons weirdly filled the Nickelback void. Is all I'm trying.
I'm
think-
not that familiar with Imagine Dragons.
Wow.
Well, they're from Vegas.
Vegas, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
like the American version of Nickelback,
Oh.
but dumber, way dumber.
It's like
somehow.
if Michael Bay joined Nickelback.
yeah.
Okay,
like put some
okay.
explosions in Nickelback.
I used to think that Muse was the Michael Bay of music, but I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Imagine Dragons is now taken over as the
Thank
Michael
you.
Bay
Yeah,
of
I
music.
think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. Now that we've gone through an extensive list of Canadian artists, I think it is now time to discuss and reveal your
The
record of the week. Which hopefully it's Canadian
It
artists.
is.
Okay.
Because
If not,
you
it's
said,
fine.
well, this is what I want to say for the viewers. Listen, I'm giving a Canadian band. I'm more of a hip hop girl, okay?
Drake.
I would have gone, nope.
The Weeknd, also Canadian, right?
Weeknd.
Also Canadian. I would have gone something else. I just want you to know
Okay.
that, okay?
Okay.
But the one album, and I listened to it on the way over here because I was like, oh my God, yeah. And I love this album. I'll say this before I reveal, because I also like happy music. That's why Alanis I have issues with, because we can't be going slow because now I think about death. So I
You can't live on a diet of just Alanis.
yeah, I
Keep that
can't.
tempo up.
I got to keep the tempo up. All right. These guys keep the tempo up the whole album, and every song sounds quite different. And it's the Sheepdogs.
Whoa, I know the Sheepdogs. They
Yeah, the Sheepdogs are so good. They hit it big in 2010 because Rolling
Rolling
Stone
Stone.
came out with an article about them. They went skyrocketed and then plummeted. But they
I've never heard of the
oh my
Sheepdogs,
God,
no.
you would love them.
All right.
They
I know
are
what I'll-
so
They're
I've got my
fantastic. They
homework.
kind of have
so
like an
good.
Allman Brothers sort of
Allman
thing.
Brothers, like 70s
Yeah,
kind
very
of vibe.
70s. Guitar harmonies, Americana.
good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And you're saying that they don't play anymore, or
They don't. I think they might play. They definitely play, but they took off, and I guess didn't stay up there, unfortunately. But maybe this will go viral, and
Yeah.
we'll bring the Sheepdogs back.
We're bringing the Sheepdogs
maybe
back.
in this clip, play like
play a little
What's
bit of
the
it.
album called?
Learn and Burn. Learn and Burn.
Learn and Burn by the
That's
Sheepdogs.
a
Is that
great
what it
name.
is?
Learn
Should
and
we
Burn.
should we put together a little bill of all the bands we're bringing back? Kind of give them
Yes.
We'll make a
Sheepdogs are
flyer parade.
headlining.
Sheepdogs. Sheepdogs are definitely.
Okay, so
here we go,
Nikki,
here
as
we
the Canadian expert here, you
Okay.
get to line up your dream Canadian music festival. Any bands, living or dead, from the past, from now,
Canadian or not.
Canadian or not, for the Canadian Music Festival. Give us your lineup, and maybe perhaps who's going to open up the show and who's going to headline, and then you can fill in the gaps in between.
Okay. We're gonna open the show with Sam Roberts Band. Do you guys know Sam
I don't know
Roberts?
Sam
I'm familiar
Roberts
with
band.
Sam Roberts
But
Band.
music festivals are about discovery.
They are,
Yeah,
about
especially
discovery.
an opening slot. That sounds about right.
That makes
Okay, so
sense.
Sam
Sam
Roberts
Roberts.
Band. We've got some homework to do on
Very
that.
cottage country music, but nice. I like him. You guys would like him.
And cottage country, I've been doing music my whole life. I've never heard of cottage
I've
country.
never heard that genre before either.
This guy, northern country?
I think I'm making it up.
Oh, I like
Honestly.
cottage
that's kind of
country.
fun
though.
descriptor.
I think it's
Kinda
stuff that we would
folky.
listen to at the cottage.
Oh, there you go.
Deck music.
Ooh, there you go.
Ooh.
Boat
Some deck
music,
jams.
deck
Boat
music.
music.
Okay.
Okay, so who's the support slot on this?
Nelly Furtado.
Nelly
Amazing.
Furtado.
She's doing the like 4 p.m. set, like
Yeah.
afternoon.
And you be day drinking.
Is she
and she'd be
going
"See
like
ya
classic
in the
Nelly, more
club."
folky,
Yeah.
like
Promiscuous?
Like a Bird, or is it like
I want
promiscuous
promiscuous,
girl?
like-
Okay, so she's banging Nelly.
Timbaland. Those songs are so good.
They're so good.
That's a good Canadian American collab between Timbaland
Yes.
and Nelly.
I agree.
Crossing borders.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bringing
Bridging
worlds
the gap.
together.
That's right.
Okay. After that, Chaos. We didn't talk about Chaos.
No, don't know Chaos.
Chaos is a Toronto rapper. He was so good at the time. He has some really fun songs.
Go check out Chaos and Sam.
It's a fantastic lineup already. We don't
Yeah.
know any of the acts.
No, you don't know any of the acts. Check out
It's
Chaos.
a free festival
Yeah.
because no one knows who these bands are.
And it's a flop because it's taking place in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma City.
Canadian music experience.
In Oklahoma City.
Okay. I already gave the Sheepdogs a shout out, so I'm not going to put them on
They're
the
not going to be on the
lineup.
bill.
They're playing the after party, private show
Yeah,
after
they're the
party.
after party.
Sheepdogs
They're
are
the after party. We're definitely going to have the band on there.
The band is
Amazing.
on there.
Okay.
The band is going to be on there because people will be like, "You're a bitch."
If you didn't
If you don't
include
have them,
Yeah, if
Okay,
I don't have
fair.
him. And then I guess Justin Bieber. But I don't really want to put him on there. He doesn't need the shout out. So let's take him off for a second.
he's a backup.
He's
He plays
backup.
weekend number 2.
maybe
Yeah.
he kind of comes out
He
as
makes
a,
an appearance.
as a guest with the band.
I think he comes on with Nelly Furtado. And then I'm going to throw Sum 41 in there because
Some
that's,
41.
Let's
we got to
go.
throw him in there
Are
because
they going to headline then?
Oh no, the band is headlining.
Oh, that band
Okay.
is headlining.
Yeah. And then Sum 41
Is before.
and so there's something for everybody. You got
Yeah.
some hip hop, you got some pop female, you got some punk rock, you got
Sum
some
41. Do you have
got-
a favorite Sum 41 record or song?
Go to the party like my name is on you. I hang out in the back of
El
this. As a man was a kid, skid never knew my name. Just my own house party cause nobody came. Now I know
Not
the
the
one
kind
you
of guy
got
you
you
knew
knew from
in
high
high
school.
school.
Never saw it, never knew, never did that too. Sticking those in, never knew. I don't want to waste my time.
Someone's gonna keep
Looks
going.
like we're at the festival.
Oh, you guys, Derek Whitman's like, oh, you guys ready for the band?
Doctor told me Mo should have had an abortion. That's maybe the best abortion lyric.
I think
in
maybe
a,
the only
in
one.
a top 40 song.
I wish I had time to think about that lineup. I'm going to regret this later, but maybe I can
And
put
now
some
it's too
people
late. The
back
flyer's already getting designed.
You could throw in one or two alternates in case you know Sum 41 can't make it or something.
Well,
You know what I
Sum
mean?
41's playing the parking lot. They're not even on the main stage.
That's right.
Yeah, they're definitely the tailgate party.
Yeah, they're the tailgate band for sure.
I'll throw Our Lady Peace on the bill.
Oh
also,
my-
they're,
Yeah, yeah.
they're in the
Really?
parking lot.
Okay.
Parking lot
They're in the
stage.
parking lot.
They're in the parking lot.
Well, they're not even playing. You're just playing their CD from your car in the parking lot.
Yeah, you're
As a
playing
warm-up.
clumsy in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
parking lot. You
clumsy in the
tailgate.
parking lot.
You tailgate to Our Lady Peace.
Yeah,
Okay, I want to
yeah.
give one more, but he's dead.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Can you double check that this is a Canadian guy? Music
Can you
Soul
double check
Child.
he's dead?
I want to make sure it's the right song, the right guy.
Music Soul Child.
Yeah.
He's from Pennsylvania.
Oh fuck,
He's
that's
from
not the
Philly.
one. I can't remember his. Damn.
Nah, he's from Texas.
No, there's a
Couldn't
singer.
be less Canadian.
There's a singer that I liked that died, and he's really good. So I wanted to give him a shout out, R.I.P. But don't remember his name. So
We're going to leave a spot on the bill for a dead singer. Just, come on back.
We're gonna leave the
that?
headlining slot for this dead singer that no one knows his name. Just open it. It's TBA. TBA.
Resurrection of the random singer.
If any dead singers decide to show up, they can have this slot.
But you got to be Canadian. You got to be dead. You got to be Canadian. And then you get to headline.
Oh my gosh. Well, Nikki Bon, you're a legend. You're hilarious. You're the best.
I can't wait to
You're
go
a
to this
great friend.
festival.
We'll be the only four people that. I might not even go to this festival, I'll
No,
be
I'm not
honest.
going. That lineup sounds terrible. I'm not going.
Pass.
Fast.
I don't even know anybody on
no,
it.
yeah, you're right.
The
you're
point
right.
was to look them up.
It's a
and
music
check 'em
discovery
out.
event.
Yeah, it's a discovery
I don't
event.
like discovering new music. I'm out.
Justin Bieber might show up.
You might show up for an appearance.
Can you imagine the flyer? It's all these names you don't know. And then
Justin
maybe
Bieber.
Justin Bieber.
Nikki, thanks for being here. Nikki Bon, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for having me.
100% music.
100% music.